Imagine, for a moment, an ancient world long before the rise of empires or cities. A time when the land was wild, untouched, and, well, mysterious. An age when the vastness of the earth's secrets still held sway over those who called it home. The people who lived in this world, perhaps unaware of the true depth of cosmic events that had shaped the very land beneath their feet. They still interacted with it in ways that we are really only beginning to understand. Among the most enigmatic of these places, sitting quietly in the heart of Ohio, is, of course, the infamous Serpent Mound, a place whose significance goes far beyond what most historians would suggest. For centuries, experts have puzzled over Serpent Mound. Was it an earthwork, a ceremonial site, or perhaps a relic of some long forgotten people? The mound itself is a large effigy of a snake, and it has, of course, long captivated archaeologists, anthropologists, and historians alike. Yet, despite years of research, one critical piece of the puzzle remained obscured. The true nature of the site's origins and the strange forces at work here remain hidden beneath the earth and, really, in the skies as well. While much has been speculated about its meaning, the complexity of Serpent Mound suggests there is far more to its story than simple symbolism or artistic expression. Beneath the mound, beneath the earthwork, lies a mysterious crater, an impact crater caused by a cosmic event. An asteroid, or perhaps a comet, struck the Earth here around 300 million years ago, leaving behind a mark on the land that would alter the landscape for eternity. But this is where the mystery deepens. This impact, this cataclysmic event, didn't just create a crater. The true significance of this strike is far more subtle and far more profound. It set in motion a sequence of events that would, over a millennia, shape not just the land, but the very fabric of life here itself. When we think of a meteor strike, we often imagine a violent explosion, a flash of fire and destruction, and indeed, the initial impact would have been catastrophic, but the long-term consequences are often less understood. A meteor strike like the one at Serpent Mound would have created a localized magnetic anomaly, a distortion of the Earth's magnetic field. This distortion in turn could have had far-reaching consequences on the environment for humans. The magnetic field so altered by the impact would have influenced atmospheric conditions in ways that are difficult to imagine, shaping everything from rainfall patterns to seasonal temperature shifts. And here lies a key element of the mystery. What if these magnetic disturbances, these subtle shifts in the weather, the changes in temperature, the changes in rainfall and wind, were not just a side effect of the impact, but a driving force behind the settlement of this area? Could the ancient peoples who lived in this land have recognized the strange effects of the magnetic field and perhaps used them to their advantage in some way? Could they have seen these shifts in the weather as signs? Signs that the land held something unique, something that could provide for them in ways other lands could not. And what if these ancient people, without the advanced tools and knowledge we have today, saw these changes as something more sacred, a blessing from the earth itself? It is this question that brings us to a crucial point. Could the Serpent Mound impact crater, with its magnetic influence on the weather, have been a factor in why certain people chose to settle here long before the arrival of other people? In the distant past, early cultures were far more attuned to the forces of nature than we often give them credit for. They understood the rhythms of the sky, the earth, and the seasons abroad. They knew that some places marked by natural phenomena held special power. And what if in this case, the Serpent Mound, this power was not just spiritual, but also really physical, an actual tangible force that influenced the very environment that they lived in? Picture this, if you will. A community living in the shadow of the earthworks. The land around them is fertile and it's rich with resources, and yet something about it feels slightly different. Something about the weather here is not quite like other places. Maybe the rainfall is far more abundant in certain seasons, or the crops seem to grow taller and faster here. Perhaps animals travel through the area in greater numbers, or the fish in nearby rivers thrive in ways that they don't elsewhere. These would have been signs that would have been more obvious to the ancient peoples than us today, and it would have been something that was more unique of something that was happening here. Something connected to the very earth itself. And they would have looked to the skies and the earth itself for answers, interpreting every change in weather patterns, every shift in the land as a message from the greater spirit. But what could they have understood? What could they have felt beneath their feet and in the shifting winds? The truth is, they may have had understood the magnetic anomaly in ways that we can only guess at today. In an age long before we had instruments to measure the Earth's magnetic field, they would have more or less sensed it through the changes in the weather, through the fertility of the land, through the migratory patterns of animals. They might have even used these changes to time their planting seasons or to predict the coming of storms, all the while associating this strange magnetic anomaly and this magnetic energy with the divine, a more religious sacrament in a way. It's not far-fetched to think that the magnetic anomaly created by the Serpent Mound or the Serpent Mound impact crater could have been interpreted as a sign of favor from the gods, a celestial blessing for the people who once lived here. In fact, it may be this very anomaly that explains the construction of the earthwork itself. The serpent shape is not just a random design, it's a deliberate, intentional form. One that mirrors the very Earth's energy itself. The coil of the serpent winding around in a perfect arc could potentially symbolize a cosmic alignment, a balancing of forces between the heavens and the earth. It's as if the mound or the earthwork itself was built as a way to channel, focus, or even tap into the magnetic energy that permeates in this very particular region. The early ancient peoples may have seen the earthworks and the crater not just as a symbol, but as an active participant in the manipulation of the forces of nature around them, a conduit between the celestial and terrestrial realms. As we continue to study the Serpent Mound and the impact crater zone, it becomes increasingly clear that the mound itself, the earthwork itself, was more than just a spiritual site. It was, in a sense, a kind of tool, a device that interacted with the energy of the land. The magnetic field caused by the impact crater beneath it could have held practical benefits. The localized disturbances in the weather could have created a microclimate, one that was more hospitable to farming, hunting, and settlement. And it's possible that these ancient peoples were not merely passive recipients of these forces, but were actively using the energies of the site to sustain their way of life, to ensure the fertility of their land and the abundance of their harvests. Now think about the implications of this. If the Serpent Mound impact crater zone really did influence the weather in such a profound way, if it did create a unique environment in which crops grew, what would this mean for other ancient sites across the world? Could these also potentially be significant sites of which magnetic anomalies happen? You decide. Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and make sure to check out my X page, my Patreon page, and all that cool stuff. I'll leave all the links below. And if you have any cool video ideas, make sure to leave them in the comments below. And if I didn't mention it already, subscribing is free, as well as liking the videos. So until next time, guys, it's been Doogie from Doogie's Earthworks. I love ya.